like that date.
Madison's looking at it. Dave, I guess they will be finished tomorrow, huh? They dumped 3 loads of trucks down, 3 loads of stone. It's a big hole.
Dave gave him a what? Hard stop for Friday? Don't he get out of the intersection by Friday?
Ask him how many pipes were coming into the.
But those pipes look so good. We could use them again.
Are they PVC?
What?
New pipes?
I'm being facetious.
No,
Dave,
no.
how old are those pipes?
You saw them today.
No.
Then the ones on College Hill were wood. They were so happy.
Hollowed out trees. Hollowed out trees. Yeah.
Treated wood.
Still out there now, though, right?
Okay, 6 o'clock.
Please rise for the invocation followed by the pledge of the flag. Heavenly Father, watch over these proceedings to make sure that we act in the best interest of our residents and that we conduct ourselves in an appropriate and cordial manner. Please give our residents the hope they need for their future, especially watch over our homeless population and those that serve them. Tonight we ask that you also receive into your eternal paradise Mr. David Fleck, who passed from this earth this past week. May his soul rest in peace. We also give his family the help that they need during this time of their bereavement. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Oh.
I didn't even have that going.
He's going with me, purgatory.
I'll probably go right to hell.
Mr. Brown?
I'm thinking ice.
Roll call, KP.
Roll call.
Sorry.
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Here.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Here.
Mrs. Rose? Here. Dr. Ruggles?
Here.
Ms. Sultana? Here. Mayor Panto?
Present. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Agenda?
Agenda item.
We'll do the minutes first.
So moved.
Second.
Move and minutes, approving the minutes of April 9th meeting. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Now we'll have the approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Any additions, deletions, or changes? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
At this time, we have a public comment on any non-agenda item that you, or I'm sorry, on agenda item that you want to talk about that relates to this meeting before we take a vote to take action. Anyone like to speak to non-agenda items?
Agenda.
Agenda
item.
items. Why do I keep saying non? Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda, Madam Clerk.
Sure. We have the following resolutions approving certificates of appropriateness for these 12 addresses. 123 South 3rd Street, 327 Spring Garden Street, 125 Spring Garden Street, 28 North 3rd Street, 1 South 3rd Street, 42 South 3rd Street, 237 Ferry Street, 100 to 116 Northampton Street, 210 Bushkill Street, 129 Spring Garden Street, and Larry Holmes Drive.
Anyone would like to make a motion to accept those consent
Motion
agendas?
to accept.
Second.
Then there's a second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
There are no reports received by council, so I'll move on to reports of committees. Finance Committee, Vice Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Last night, council met in committee, and our director, Mr. Nicky, went over the first quarter with both revenue stream and expense stream, and he had asked if council had any questions. He gave us a spreadsheet. Please reach out to him. That is all I have for this evening.
Economic Development Committee, Councilman Pinnabone.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some updates and some announcements. Economic Development Office completed work on the CDBG draft budget for 2025, finalized the plans in partnership with the Lehigh Valley Chamber for the second annual Commercial Properties Open House and Familiarization Tour to be held on June 13th. They attended and participated in Main Street's quarterly business outreach.
Liv, you're not allowed in here. Livia, you're not allowed in here.
Let me start from the beginning. No, I'm just kidding. Hold on, now let's throw that. They attended and participated in Main Street's quarterly business and outreach event, interviewed candidates for summer internships focusing on business recruitment strategy and vacancy analysis, worked with Northampton County to plan and coordinate a meeting with local and federal legislators on federal funding concerns to be held in May, worked with new Easton Arts Center on technical review with codes and planning, met with LVEDC to update current projects in the city, met with staff members from Senator McCormick and Representative McKenzie's office to discuss city priority projects and federal funding needs, and we closed out 2 grants, one from EDCDI for the Centennial Park renovation for $200,000 and another GTRP for Vanderveer Park restoration for $100,000. Now some announcements. Dual grand opening and ribbon cutting ceremony for house planted and crepes at Casa in the public market will be Friday the 25th at 5 p.m. Nature's Way Market 50th anniversary will be Saturday, April 26th. They will be having events and activities at the shop all day. Come celebrate this staple business of Easton that is vital to the community. Brian, you getting these? Okay. Spring into Easton, Saturday, April 26th, 12 to 4. Easton Shopping and Dining Crawl. Retailers pair up with restaurants so visitors can shop around and try samples. Tickets available online. Ace Arts Tour, April 26th and 27th. Join the arts community of Easton to explore dozens of open galleries and shops with guest artists in the downtown area. This event is free. Guests can check in and get a map full listings of galleries at the Siegel Museum. Also coming next weekend, opening day of the Easton's Farmers Market at Larry Holmes Drive, May 3rd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The 42nd Annual Historic Easton Tour, Saturday, May 3rd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mesa Cinco de Mayo Weekend Celebration, May 3rd and 4th. And Dueling Rivers Whiskey and Music Jam, Sunday, May 4th. This is all courtesy of Julie from GEDP, so thank you for providing that for us. Lastly, myself and Tony Fabrizio, who is a resident of Easton, he also goes by the name of the Meat Whisperer. We are hosting a Memorial Day barbecue at Scott Park for free food for all first responders and vets, May 24th. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Planning and Codes Committee, Councilmember Rose.
Thank you, Mayor. I recently joined the Safe Streets for All Steering Committee for the city. We had our second meeting where we reviewed a safety analysis report from the consultants. And then there is a survey that is out and that the city's been publicizing that is going to close on May 31st. So I would encourage everyone to take that survey, help us make our roadways safe for you. You can pinpoint roads, intersections, and walkways that need improvement that you've experienced in that survey. And you can also share your ideas for roadway safety improvements. There will be a pop-up at the farmers market on May 10th if you're interested in finding out more information. So I would encourage everyone to stop by. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Dr. Regles.
I have no report tonight.
Public Works Committee, Councilman Edinger.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report tonight. I do, however, have 2 resolutions and 2 ordinances that I'm going to be moving this evening.
Thank you. Administration Committee, Councilmember Sultana.
Home Easton had a meeting on the 17th, Mayor, but there is not much to be updated here since some of the things on the agenda were pending until the next meeting, which will be hosted in May. And also there are 2 bills, Bill number 55, an ordinance, and Bill number 56 is coming from the Administration Committee. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, report of the City Solicitor, Mr. Shear.
Thank you. I'm happy to report that I'm here, but otherwise I have no other report.
Thank you. Mayor's report. Let me just say that I see some of the college students here from Lafayette. Last night we had a presentation by Lafayette college students on the survey that they did when they got 1,700 responses, and I appreciate them being here tonight. We will use that to try to recruit and bring in businesses that the people in a 20-minute radius want to see. And top of the list, of course, is a grocery store. And we've been working on that diligently for the last probably 3 years. We have one that's coming into the westward. We have one on the south side. We just don't have one downtown yet. And with all the new residents moving into downtown, that is a problem. I received this book from Mr. Chitsy's great-grandson. He lives in California now. This book is about Mr. Chitsy, Mayor Chitsy, I should say. He was the first mayor of the city of Easton as a city. We were a borough before that, so in 1887 we became a city. And that's his desk over there, and that's a picture of dear old Charlie. Charlie was a handsome-looking devil with his bow tie, and that's his desk, which was given to us by Mike Clovis. And it's an interesting book. Chapter 14 is about all of his involvement in the city after the war. I've been reading the book, and it's a compilation of all of the memorabilia and letters that his great-grandson, Thomas Chitsy, who lives in, I'm sorry, not California, Utah, Sandy, Utah, he sent me a letter. He came and dedicated the desk for us. Him and his wife were in Easton. And he also, Mr. Chitsy, Mayor Chitsy, was the one who in 1910, or 1905, actually, dedicated the Soldiers and Sailor Monument in the center, which has become the most photographed icon in the city. And I just wanted to bring that up. We also last night had a budget update. The first quarter looks good. We're trending well, both in revenues and expenses, so we're very happy about that. Dave's here to give a 3rd and Ferry Street update. The intersection should be open by the weekend. Right, Dave?
Hell of an update.
Well, we're given going up there and seeing the pipes that they're replacing is ridiculous. They're over 100 years old and they're really in bad shape. So we're doing the infrastructure work. Infrastructure projects are usually delayed because politicians don't like to do them because it's a big inconvenience to the people, and this is certainly an inconvenience. The good news is Dave recommended going to 2-ways traffic on the ring road several years ago, and that has really helped. Otherwise, this would really be a mess. Safe Streets for All grant, Miss Rose talked about that, and we'll be bringing something to City Council in the next couple months. The waterfront design meeting we're looking to do sometime in late May or June. We'll bring in the consultant to go over what they're recommending for the Lehigh waterfront and the Delaware waterfront. The May 9th is the meeting that Mr. Pinnabone talked about. The city and the county are meeting to discuss federal problems and issues. Humor Park Bridge project is scheduled for 2026. It'll pretty much close the bridge across the Lehigh River, which means you won't have access. No one will have access into Humor Park. The county owns the one that goes across the canal and across the railroad, and they've just closed it off. The Department of Community and Economic Development has been working with the federal government to try to release the deed restriction on the Fowler Center, which is across the street from the governor's office. That Fowler Center has a deed restriction, says it had to be an education center for 30 years, and we're only at 20. So we're trying to get that lifted so that we can use it for other things. We also, Dave has sustainability director now, and that sustainability director is looking at LED streetlights and lighting in City Hall that would save us money and get us a return on investment within 4 years. So that's pretty good. There's also going to be a pool presentation sometime in June. In May, the second meeting in May. And the consultant will come in and give us an update on what he thinks we should do with our pools. As you know, we have 3 pools. We have 1 at High Hall, 2 at Eddyside, and the pool presentation will be probably in May. May 14th is the Officer of the Year luncheon, so any council members that want to go see Mr. Campos. June 6th is the Fire Academy graduation. We have 4 candidates that'll be in the academy. We expect at least 3 of them to graduate. We can't say if all 4 will graduate now because we don't know. I mean, and I just want to let you know that Heritage Day is being moved to Saturday. As you may know, Heritage Day was a committee of City Hall employees, and that fell apart about 5 or 6 years ago, and we gave Heritage Day to GEDP, the Greater Eastern Department Partnership, and they've come to me and asked to move it to Saturday. I don't see a problem with it. It's closer to this July 8th date anyway, and it'll be exactly the same. They claim that they can get reenactors, et cetera, earlier coming into Easton on Saturday because that gives them Sunday to travel back home. So I just want to let you know that. That's the end of my report.
Mayor, can I add something?
Go ahead.
Easter egg hunts. They were very successful, by the way.
Yes, they were.
Yeah,
Our
Southside.
creation department did a great job
yes,
with them.
they did a very good job, and there were like 300 people showed up, at Cottingham, and then probably between 200 or 300 in Southside with Southside Civic Association. I mean, it was
400 on College
Yeah,
Hill.
yeah, probably 400 in College, and yes, so very successful.
They were. Thank you, Mrs.
Yeah,
Sullivan.
sure, absolutely.
Okay, moving on in the agenda.
Louis?
Oh, Louis, yes, sorry about that. Louis?
Just a couple items. One thing I just want to be clear, because I did mention this last night, with regards to the stamp program. The mayor and I the mayor received notice from DCED that the city received a $75,000 award towards the stamp program, which is good, which is on pace with what we budgeted for. But secondly, last night I said this quickly. I just want to make sure I was a little bit clearer tonight that the administration decided to move forward with Public Financial Management as their consultant, PFM. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear with everyone. The process anyway has always included a member of DCED. Mr. Pinnabone was in the meetings as well, but the list was very specific. It went out to DCED approved consultants. So it's a very regulated process. At the end, PFM came out the best. One of the reasons, a large firm. Secondly, I think our personalities meshed well with myself and Mark and who we're going to be working with. So I just wanted to let everyone know that. Secondly, the newsletter. I sent an email out to council. I just sent it to you. You have a sample of the newsletter that's going to be going out. It's a high-level proof. I just want you guys to take a look at it. If you have any comments, you have to get them back to me by close of business tomorrow or early Friday morning at the latest, or you can just call me and tell me your edits over the phone real quick if they're quick, if there's something that you don't understand or you see something that needs a little bit more explanation. It's our first newsletter, so I wanted to send that out to you so you can take a look at it. Ms. Rose asked me about the zoning ordinance last night, so I just want to bring that up to everyone. I had a call with LVPC, and the mayor jumped in with me, and they're actually requesting a detailed analysis on why changes were made to the proposed zoning ordinance. So the Planning and Codes Department is working on that line by line. They want to see that to help assist with their analysis on how they're going to work with us. I just wanted to give you that update. So that's what's going on right now. They're working on it. It's a big document. There are a lot of changes, as you can see. So it's literally, page, item, and why we made the change. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. And then, as Ms. Sultana said, there's a sublease for approval tonight for the neighborhood center. We have a lease agreement with the neighborhood center, and in that lease agreement, it says that any sublease has to come then to the landlord, which is us, and we have to approve it, and that's for First Commonwealth to have some office hours there, to do financial education and some other things. So that's what's in front of you tonight. And Mr. Pinnabone, I did reach out to Pastor Davis, and I talked to him about maybe some of the issues that they're having with was it People First?
Yeah.
So he did explain them to me. It's a little bit different, but I appreciate that. It's not my purview. I'm not going to regulate the business.
Right.
We're just approving the lease, so it's really up to the business to become successful. It's, you know, but I just wanted to let you know that I did reach out and I talked to Pastor Davis, so thank you for that. And I did then relay that some of those concerns or issues to First Commonwealth. And then lastly, I wanted just everyone to know this because I've received a few phone calls from constituents, and I've also heard it here at council. I sent you the link to 2 different sites on the city's webpage where we have updates on projects. So you can take a look, and because, you know, sometimes, you know, we're an administration, we're not out in the public per se, other than doing services, but, you know, we're not necessarily discussing like updates on projects, and sometimes, you know, the public may see no updates, but there's a lot of paperwork that happens behind the scenes, and as we know, it's, you know, it's exhaustive when it comes to doing any kind of brick and mortar projects with regards to codes, permits, and all kinds of regulations that we have to follow. And then also grants, et cetera, and it's tedious for grants because they're usually in year-long intervals, even though we announce a project. And then all kinds of other things could happen with matching funds. So I wanted to make sure that council knew that there are 2 sites on the web page that discusses current projects. Some of them have to do with the parks, which is very important. So take a look at them, and we can, you know, we can update them. And any feedback would be great as well. We can certainly merge them. It's a work in progress, but I wanted to make sure you guys have that at your fingertips. So when you're talking to constituents and you can answer questions almost immediately. Okay, that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. There's no correspondence, so we'll move right on to unfinished business, Madam Clerk.
Sure. Bill number 53, an ordinance adding 1 15-minute parking space for drop-off pickup at A to Z convenience store located at 393 West Berwick Street.
Motion.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion.
Mayor, I'm gonna ask again, as I did the last meeting, that we vote no. The residents don't have places to park now. That store has been there for longer than I've been born, and we never had 15-minute parking. It's gonna cause even more of a problem for the residents that live there.
Mayor, I also want to talk about this because it's right on the Berwick Street and my kids go there all the time. And upon my observation, I think they definitely need 15 minutes parking. And of course, if we want business to thrive, we want to make sure like we are helping them out. And with Wachovia Bank's parking, they are using that because they don't have 15 minutes or half an hour's parking. So I fully support this bill.
I have a hard time voting against it. I have a hard time voting for it because I don't know what you can do in 15 minutes. Roger and I eat at a place where there's a 30-minute parking spots, and we're in there for 45 to 50 minutes. But anyway, I find it difficult to give all the businesses, if they all wanted a 15-minute spot, we would have a hard time giving it to them. But I also understand Berwick Street, understand the request, and we've done it in the past. So based on past practice, I'd have to approve it. But I feel pity for those people who have a parking problem that own a business because it's hard to run a business without parking.
Mayor, if I may add, if it was a new business and they were asking for a parking permit as they came in, I'd understand the request a little more. The business has been there. Maybe you or Councilman Brown can help me. I know it's been there longer than I've been there.
It's been longer than I've been alive. Allison Ed.
So, and it's never been closed. So the business is doing well without 15-minute parking. And I understand past practices that we have done that. Unfortunately, I think some of the past practice that the city has done has contributed significantly to our parking issues in the neighborhood. And I think it's time that we stop making those same mistakes and look to do things differently going forward. So again, I would ask that we vote no on this. The tenants who just took over knew there was no 15-minute parking when they took over months ago. So again, I'd like to side with the residents and not support this tonight.
And I hear you loud and clear. Oh, Michael? Yeah, we had the same issue on Northampton Street. Where an established business was there before, and they came to us and asked for a 15-minute parking space. So it's not unusual that an established business notice that they have grown and need that time for people to pick up their food and go. So I certainly understand, but at the same time, as the mayor stated, that it's not something that you want to take away from a business. At the same time, you don't want to take away from the neighborhood.
I don't want to take it away either. However, I've driven up there several times over the past 2 weeks, and the parking is very tight. I spoke to a few residents. I think taking that parking spot away from the the residents is going to be tough. It's a tough call, but we can't keep, just because we've done something for so long, sometimes we have to go back and look and see, like, are we creating additional
What are their
hardships by
hours?
granting this?
To 9 p.m. Yeah, we said it
9 to
last,
9.
Yeah, that's what I have.
9 to 9.
Yeah, Tuesday to Sunday.
Or and my hope is that if we didn't pass this or deny it, either way, that the owners are not just parking in that space if we gave that to them.
Well, they run
Well,
the
it's
risk of
only
getting a
15
ticket.
minutes.
They're there for more than 15 minutes.
It's a 15 minutes parking, so.
I saw a lot of people going in and out over the last 2 weeks, and it doesn't
always.
seem to be
Yeah,
prohibiting.
Business has
Anyone
always
from
been
getting
good
in
there
there.
for over 50 years.
Who would enforce the 15 minutes?
Police.
The issue is, we heard last night that we're not enforcing it downtown in the business and entertainment district, so I'm not confident we're gonna enforce it in the residential neighborhood of Berwick.
Well, let me say, I think that was, the administration did not say that nothing's, that park enforcement is not being enforced downtown.
No, the administration didn't, the
No,
mayor brought it up.
that came from council. That was council's opinion. The administration never said that. So
Right.
And what I just want to make sure it's clear, because that's a public statement.
If we hired 5 more
Yeah,
full-time parking enforcement officers like some other municipalities and used their cars in downtown rather than be on foot, we'd be giving a lot of tickets. And that's fine, but people would start complaining that they're getting tickets. Right now, you run the risk of playing roulette. You may get a ticket, you may not. Chances are very good that you won't get a ticket.
what I am going to provide to council is a little bit more detailed analysis of what we've been doing. I mean, many years ago, I will tell you that parking tickets in the city were about, now obviously the cost, there's inflation there, but was annually, it was about $16,000. Now, parking fines, I mean, it's approaching 2 million. So obviously there's fines that are being given out there. But I'm going to, as I said last night, I'm going to provide that data to council. So
You used to be able to get
I
parking
don't-
anywhere you wanted it.
I want to make sure that we're careful that there is parking enforcement going on.
There is absolutely parking enforcement,
Okay.
but it goes back to what I've been saying for a year. We're missing on quality of life issues. We don't have enough, right? As the mayor said, we need like 5 more,
Quality
so we
of
don't
life
have enough.
tickets are not quality of life issues. Quality of life tickets are put out by the code department for things like
High grass.
high grass, porch, inside furniture on porches.
But quality of life is parking where you're not supposed to park,
Yeah,
blocking
That's put
driveways
out
on
by-
residents,
But that's put out by police officers.
and parking enforcement on
No,
parking.
no, police, parking enforcement that only gives out tickets for registration and parking meters.
Our parking enforcement, though, Mayor, have been on the south side, because I've been talking to them, giving tickets for parking on public grass, for parking too close to the corner. It's not our police doing it. It's our public, our enforcement.
Mayor,
Parking
you guys
enforcement.
are saying like very similar things.
Right.
Let me come back and give you that data and information, and then that way we can look at it
Sounds good.
closer.
All right. Roll call. Sorry, Mayor.
Mr. Ettinger?
No.
Mr. Pinnabone?
No.
Mrs. Rose?
No.
Dr. Ruggles?
No.
Ms. Sultana?
Yes.
Mayor Panto?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Motion fails.
Motion fails 5-2. Okay, unfinished business, Madam Clerk, rest of it?
Well, we have another bill to introduce, to
Right.
vote on. Bill number 54. An ordinance amending the 2025 ARPA budget to include 2 additional accounts not originally included.
So moved. Second.
Move the second discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
And Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
I would be remiss if I didn't introduce Olivia. Olivia got just 250 saves?
Yes, he just broke that
The
record.
field
yeah.
hockey saves. She's the goalie. Stand up. She's also in the top 10% or 5% of her class. 5%. That's very good. Good. That's the most important part.
Well done.
So is she? Oh, good job. That's even more important. And that's why athletes are good scholars, because they know how to manage their time better than
Absolutely.
other students, because they don't have much of it. Move on. New business, Madam Clerk.
Sure. Our next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing Easton DCED to apply for a PA small sewer and water grant.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Discussion. David, you want to explain it?
So we have a few needs for lining and doing pipe rehab. I think the first location is Grant and Frederick, over in that intersection. There's some need there, and then I believe the second location is Washington Street. We have two mains that go from, I think it might be like 11th down to 9th. That are, I think I put it in the packet, that are in really tough shape.
Thank you.
I know that infrastructure projects are really hard on people because of traffic controls. But if you would see the pipes that they pulled out of this street, they're over 100 years old. I mean, you got to do it. And when you do it, it's an inconvenience, but it's also a safety issue. The last thing you want is a gas leak in your neighborhood. As a person who has had 2 gas explosions in his neighborhood, I appreciate UGI restoring and replacing all the underground infrastructure. However, it is inconvenient and it makes a mess of the roads, especially in the wintertime. So the good news is UGI will be doing 6 miles of roads. They've done 14 and a half already. Great. So you'll see new streets in Easton.
Dave, just a question on that. Are they paying the city to do that? The streets over again?
Our ordinance requires that they pay a flat $50 fee, but they are responsible for the entire restoration.
Okay.
And in most cases, I only think in this round of restorations, there's only 3 that are half lane restorations, where they stayed on one side of the road and dug.
Right.
They had a lot of transverse cuts to get the services in, so they'll be curb to curb restorations on almost all the roads they've cut.
Okay, Madam Clerk, you can go to letter B.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
And Mr. Pinnabone.
Aye.
A resolution approving an agreement with WK2 Engineers for design services along Knox Avenue and Cattell Street.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll get all the complaints from the people who live in Forks Township.
Yeah.
The people who live in College Hill understand that they need to slow down traffic on Cattell Street.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
And Mrs. Rose.
Aye.
A resolution approving a 6-month extension to the existing developer agreement with AVR,
ANR.
A&R?
ANR.
Hey, it's spelled wrong
Did I
on
get
the,
A?
on the agenda.
Thank you for that. I'll fix it. For the development at 40 South 6th Street.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? This, when we do the zoning update, this is one of the projects that was created a lot of consternation. You may remember about a year ago, public was here because they were complaining about they live in 3-story homes and this is a 7-story home. Even though it's stepped back, it still looks like a 7-story building. It's very dense. It takes up the entire lot. But you'll see that we tried to correct it. Same as you'll be seeing one coming. Mr. Campos and I met with the developer for 70. Is it 70 North 4th?
Yes.
I think it's 70.
Yes.
70 North 4th Street, which is the same thing. It's a big building right across from our parking garage. Roll call.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
A resolution approving a sublease between the Easton Area Neighborhood Center and First Commonwealth Federal Credit Union.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? When I was a young lad, many, many decades ago, Mr. Pinnabone, because you're going to say, I'll say it before you say it.
Just saying.
The neighborhood center always had a credit union there, so this is bringing it back to help people manage their money and get a better education about what their money can do for them, and hopefully get loans and mortgages.
Lewis,
Yes.
could you, just for the record, explain what they will be doing here and what they won't be doing, so the public know?
Well, they're not gonna be opening up deposits. But they are gonna, it's gonna be, I think, very informational. Part of from what the CEO told me, the idea is to open it during, events that they host up there, that the community center hosts, so to make sure there's staff there. Secondly, that location will be supported by their 4 branches locally. So it's, Peaburg's one, and they have several in Palmer that are the closest by. That's as much as I have.
So basically, residents can get information. They're not gonna be able to deposit or cash checks and make withdrawals and things.
No.
Right. That's important. I think just the public should be aware of what services they do offer. Thank you.
Yep.
Call a question, Madam Clerk.
I'm sorry?
Call a question.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Eddinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
And we have 2 ordinance for introduction. Bill number 55, an ordinance approving a permit parking program for residents living on Bushkill Drive between North 3rd Street and North Delaware Drive, and residents living on North Delaware Drive in the vicinity of Bushkill Drive.
So introduced.
Oh, is it introduced?
Yes.
Okay.
David, you want to just explain that program, very similar to the Fifth Street program, but in a different area, and why we need it?
Yeah, so we've gotten several complaints from residents, increasingly over the past couple of years that people have found the parking on the bridge near the intersection of Bushkill and 611 that, it's a pretty short walk into town. You can go under the tunnel and be on Bushkill Street in a minute or two. And so people are kind of leaving their cars there. Sometimes it's all day if they're, employed full-time and they don't want to pay for parking. And it's kind of putting a squeeze on the existing residents. So we had a Teams call, and they were well represented. There were probably 15 to 20 households represented on the call. And they were, of course, they were concerned, like College Hill, if you have a guest during those times where they enforce you have to use a hang tag. So you kind of, it's not painless to put in a parking program, but they thought it would be worth it. So, at the very least, we said we'd give it a shot. And I think by virtue of just the permit signs being up, I think that could be sort of discourage people to abandon their vehicles there. But they were very supportive, and we'll work with them if we need to be flexible. And the parking staff, they're usually pretty good to work with when people come in and they feel like they were incorrectly ticketed. So we'll try and work with them as much as possible. Start with warnings for the first few weeks, and then move on to citations.
Thanks, Steve. I know they was very, very helpful to give us an idea of what they were talking about when they came last couple of times. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I think this program's really going to help them out.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Bill number 56, an ordinance approving an encroachment agreement with 27 South 3rd Street Associates for the installation of handrails.
So introduced.
And that is for that building right there. There, Louis and I went up the ramp today to get into their rental office. And so they encroached a little bit out into the sidewalk because of the handicap accessibility. Any other discussion? Roll call.
There's no roll call.
No, it's
It was
introduced.
introduced.
Okay, public comment. Anyone like to say anything about anything in the city of Easton? Comments, questions, or concerns? Artie. Mr. Ravitz, excuse me.
I appreciate, Artie Rabbits, 144 Church Street. I appreciate all the parking discussion that we've had this evening. And I also had an experience trying to get into a parking space before lunch a week ago. And I tried to come up with a plan, which I called the valet parking plan, which is basically what the Time is doing on the corner of Larry Holmes and Northampton Street. But basically, I recommend that council figure out a plan to start with 6 valets that will be working at a tent just next to the southeast quadrant of the circle, right near Josie's Deli, so that anyone coming into the city would be able to come in there, hand their car off to a valet, pay the $6 that you would possibly charge the valet, and the valet would take the car to the city lots. The people would be notified to have to pick their car up and pay the regular fees for the parking there for the evening. And a couple other problems. If the weather would be a little problem, the valet should have a cover over their heads so people could go out to use their valet service during bad weather. The valets, if they get sick, we should have substitute valets ready to be on call to come in to take their place. And I hope that you have a spot in the budget to try this out for a while. And also, I hope you know that my idea is just an idea, and I hope that you could expand on it and make it a little more workable, because I only really spent a few hours, 6 hours or 8 hours thinking about it, putting it together. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ravitz, we will be announcing something in the next few weeks about a parking program similar to that,
Okay.
but not exactly like that.
I see.
We believe that Time is doing a good job with valeting, and other restaurants, if they have a problem, should follow suit.
I see. I got it. Okay.
But you're right. But we have something coming up. We can't talk about it yet because the paperwork hasn't been signed.
All right.
It has been signed.
Oh, you signed it?
No, you haven't signed it.
No, I didn't.
The other
sign
party
it.
signed it. The other party signed it.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
they
That's
signed
good.
it.
They just submitted it. But why don't we just talk about it
Yeah,
afterwards?
well, next time.
Me, you,
Todd.
Memo.
Our Blue Zones director is here.
I am, and I am.
And the blue.
Yeah, I got my Blue Zones hat on now, although I am a resident. I live at Larry Holmes Drive, with free parking below my building. One of the reasons I moved there at the watermark, yeah. Just finished the parking the other day, actually. It's quite nice.
That's good.
Is it?
They just finished the paving and the striping like 2 days ago, so
so now you
now
have all
there's,
that traffic on Larry Holmes.
that's a whole other issue. But at least I've got covered parking right by my front
That's
door,
true,
so
yeah.
I do appreciate that. This is the third or fourth time I lived downtown, and yeah, it's nice. And welcome all the folks from Easton High School. It's great to see you here. Mayor Panta was my teacher years and years and years ago. And he's actually the reason why I'm standing here, because one of the many things I learned was, to have civic pride and to, wherever you live, to get involved, be informed and, represent your city. So it's great to see some Red Rovers here. Anyway, all right, so thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I am pleased to let you know that the first year of Blue Zone's work here in Easton is coming to a close. The end of this, what we call foundation phase, is a milestone, and it marks the start of our transformation phase, which will be taking place over the next 2 years. And to mark this occasion, we are hosting a community kickoff event on Saturday, May 10th at the Easton Farmers Market. So if you want to come learn about safe streets and learn more about blue zones, come down to the market. So I want to invite each of you, and in fact everyone here, anyone who lives, works, learns, or plays in Easton is a stakeholder in the work that we do at Blue Zones. So come join us at the country's oldest open-air farmers market to learn about the world's oldest living cultures and the habits that make them healthy and how we are bringing these principles of longevity to Easton. And now this is more than just one organization hosting a fun community event. This is a community-wide celebration of our local ideas and a statement of our intent that these ideas be put into action. At the kickoff event, we will be formally presenting the blueprint and action plan that outlines the 4 strategies that we as a community chose and some of the major steps we'll be taking along the way. The ideas and strategies in the plan were gathered through many hours of conversation and community engagement, which several of you in this room were a part of. And we also reviewed strategic plans, annual reports, and a pretty good analysis of our online presence, which if you ever go to the Everything Easton Facebook page or any of the other pages is a very active town hall kind of water cooler conversation. And while not everyone in Easton will be able to attend the event, the work that we do will benefit everyone in Easton. In fact, our stated purpose at Blue Zones and our mission here in Easton is to empower everyone everywhere to live better, longer. At this kickoff event, we'll have interactive activities that illustrate the principles of the original Blue Zones so that all of us can make simple changes to our daily routines that add up to better health and happiness. And to provide a little extra incentive to stop by and explore some of the activities, we will have some really neat limited edition canvas tote bags. We'll also be providing market tokens that you can use as cash at the market. So a lot of fun there. Now on the table behind there, I've got some flyers you can take with you. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook at Blue Zones Activate Easton for more information and more shareable content. And while the Easton Farmers Market, of course, is the long-time staple of our community. I mean, do you realize that the Easton Farmers Market was a farmers market for 24 years while we were still a British colony? We weren't even a country yet, and we had a farmers market. I just think that's pretty cool. But we also have a second market here in Easton on Wednesday nights up at the West Ward by Paxenosa School and Cottingham Stadium. And we will be working with the West Ward market people to have Blue Zones Night on May 14th, where we'll offer the same interactive activities, information, and plenty more of the tote bags and market cash to spend at the West Ward Market. And there's some flyers for that as well. And in fact, the flyers are in English and Spanish. So 2 great markets that take place every week and 2 great events in the month of May, Saturday, May 10th at the Easton Farmers Market and Wednesday, May 14th at the West Ward Market. And of course, both of these events require people to run them. Several of my colleagues from Allentown and Bethlehem Blue Zones will be coming as well as a couple of folks from across the country. But we can also use your help and everyone in this room. If you're interested in volunteering at either of the events or want to help promote the opportunity, we're working with the GEDP and collecting volunteers through their website. There's a couple of QR codes you can scan and sign up right there on your phone. And finally, if it pleases council, I would love to come back to present more details about the blueprint, the 4 strategies, the action steps that we're taking. As of today, we're in the final stages of writing the blueprint. It will be published by the end of this month. And I thank you for your time and attention. I'll be available for questions after. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. It's at the Farmers Market, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Anyone else like to address City Council? I wanted to say thank you to the Lehigh Valley Health Network for sponsoring the Blue Zones. We really appreciate that. The goal of living to 100 to become a centenarian is admirable. In the United States, we live an easy life, and most of the Blue Zones are in areas where they do a lot more walking and riding bikes than we do. And if you want to see a good program, watch the Blue Zones documentary that's on
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix.
Yep. Very good.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah, really good.
Hello, my name is Lauren Kendall. I have lived in Easton for over 18 years. I live on Bushkill Drive, where we're going to get that parking thing. Thank you. And I just wanted to say I'm one of the people who is in support of the welcoming immigrant ordinance, and I just wanted to express my support. I know I've heard some people say that it would just be not like providing sort of a fake sense of security, but I really think it would be a real layer of safety and goodwill for our immigrant communities, which include my friends and my kids' friends who go to Easton High School. I also think that city tax dollars should go to city issues and community issues, and federal immigration law is something that should be dealt with by the federal authorities, and I don't want to spend our city dollars on that. Yeah, I think it's a goodwill thing and a layer of protection for our neighbors and friends. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to address city council? Bodie, how you doing?
Hi, my name is Karina Villonis. I live on College Hill.
Oh, Karina.
Yeah, it's okay.
That was yesterday. Oh, it was the ponytail.
Oh, it was the ponytail? Okay.
Yeah, I also just wanted to say that I support the idea of the welcoming city ordinance. I think it would be really meaningful just to have a codification of what I get the impression is already more or less existing policy. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Ronald Johnson. I live in Washington Street,
What's the address?
1537
Okay,
Washington
that's
Street.
Wilson Borough. You said you were a resident of Easton. I just want to correct it.
I never said that. I said I live on Washington Street.
Right. I know.
Thank
We
you, Mayor.
assumed Washington Street was somewhere between 300 and 1500, 1400.
1 block away.
Half a block.
Half a block, yeah. So the reason I'm here today is I'd like to express what I view from my perspective is the issue. My perspective is that the owners of the means of production have decided to pin worker against worker. And the way that they're doing that is by creating a system in which people are fleeing from imperialist destruction that is being inflicted on many parts of the global south, forcing many families to migrate north into the United States, the only way that they can, which is without proper authorization by the federal government. And as a result of that, these individuals work hard. They usually work 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. They share, 5 or 6 individuals to one bedroom so that they can provide a better life for their families. And I don't think we should be criminalizing the most vulnerable and at-risk workers in our community. And the reason I bring this up is, unfortunately, many individuals, hardworking individuals in our community, are living in perpetual fear, which is causing them difficulty to do basic things like go to the grocery store, go to work, take their kids to the doctor's office, things like that. And I don't think that I know the world will never be fair, right? I know that you're going to be very miserable if you think that. But what I think I'm asking here is reasonable, is to codify through a welcoming ordinance for Easton City Council to introduce. Anyone could, and Mayor, you could also introduce it if you wish. And it would just be to ensure that we do not further aid and abet the Department of Homeland Security with their objectives to inflict further terror and inflict significant harm on, working families, the most vulnerable and at risk amongst us. So, with that being said, I really hope for consideration. I know that the people that are most affected by this cannot show up to forums like this due to their perpetual fear. And I think it's important for those that have the power to be able to, look out for the most vulnerable and at risk amongst us to do so. And additionally, the part about pitting worker against worker, I think comes down to the fact that, billionaires and the owners of industry have decided to outsource a lot of jobs overseas to places that have more favorable conditions to exploit workers. Where they don't have to deal with, unions, don't have to worry about busting those unions. And at the same thing, they're also pitting migrant worker against native-born worker. And by doing so, they get to scapegoat, what the issues are. So the issues that, low-income native-born workers are enduring, they don't have to worry about that. They can just say, the reason your living condition is not good is because those migrant workers over there are stealing your jobs, stealing your opportunities, and their kids are taking your scarce resources away from your kids. That's the scapegoat that's typically used. When in reality, the way I view things is the reason that these jobs and opportunities are going away from working class families, native-born working class families, is due to the effects of automation and due to the effects of union busting. Thank you.
Ronald, if I could just point one thing out, it's not to debate what you're saying, but I want to be clear on one thing. You said you don't want us to continue working with Homeland, but just to be clear, we currently don't, right? So it's against the law, as you know, for Easton Police just to stop anybody who looks like, they're foreign and ask them for their status. So Easton Police, I just want to be clear, Easton Police isn't doing it. ICE picked up 2 undocumented people coming out of Northampton County Prison in Easton, and the cameras were there. Everybody was there. No Easton Police participated. So I just want to be clear for anybody listening, we're not participating, right? So Easton Police, we don't do that now.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
My request is for no one to break, state or federal law or Pennsylvania state police ordinances. What I'm asking for is to not further aid and abet than you're required to by state, federal law, and Pennsylvania state police ordinances. In addition, I'm not asking y'all to,
I understand,
take away the chains.
I understand what you're saying 100%, and I'm not debating what you're saying. Just to be clear, again, you're saying you don't want us to further, which implies that we're helping now, and we're not, is what I'm saying. We don't. We don't do it now. That's all I'm saying for the public watching and the people here. We're not doing that now. So when you say you don't want us to further continue, implies that we're already doing that. We don't. So I just want to make sure I just.
May I correct my statement then?
It's okay. We're clear.
Ron, and I 100% wish that we had a way to combat against this. Unfortunately, our hands are legislatively is tied to the state and what we can do. And by putting an ordinance in place of, I don't know, I've said it before, Pinnabone said it before, it's not the right thing to do. It's a false hope. It gives people false hope. What we did say, and was that we can get behind maybe a resolution that we agree and to this point or disagree to that point and get behind that. But to create another law on top of a law, I just don't see it. And more importantly, I think that Easton's a very welcoming city. It's one of the most welcoming cities in the valley and always has been. It is the melting pot of all our festivities that we have are multicultural. I don't want to lose that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Brown, for giving me permission to comment. Yeah, I share a lot of the sentiments that you mentioned in your discourse, and I appreciate those sentiments. And I think what we're asking is, and just to point out the part about the false hope, I think unfortunately a resolution would do more damage in terms of promoting false hope than an ordinance would. Thank you.
What, do you know the difference between a resolution and an ordinance?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Because an ordinance requires a penalty. What is the penalty for not doing this?
The penalty for
If you're creating a law, such as we just did with my recommendation, a law that says no tractor trailers can be parked on the city street overnight, it's a $500 fine. What is the penalty for not doing this?
It's not doing, Mayor. He's asking that we don't.
I know what he's
assist.
asking.
So
That's
so
why
what
we
do we do
put
if
it in
we
the
don't?
resolution.
That was my question to you
But to
before.
put it as a law of the city, I don't know how we could do that.
I guess the mayor is asking if they give information I send you, which you and I spoke about, what's the repercussions?
that would be up to y'all to decide as to how you want to
That puts you in a very
to-
vulnerable position.
to put precautions onto your own staff.
And what about
Police.
the law, the federal law that says our police have to assist ICE if they request it?
Yes, if they have a judicial warrant, I'm all for that. Yeah, I understand.
Why do they? No, they don't need a judicial warrant. If they come into town and they want backup, we got to provide backup. It's that simple.
Cities like Lancaster, cities like
I know.
Allentown
You
have
know
done.
what? Cities like Allentown and Lancaster, I don't care about. I control Easton, and controlling Easton by ordinance is a law, not a resolution. And a resolution to me of this council urging our state senate and our representatives and our federal government to have comprehensive immigration reform is the way to go.
Yes, most
all
definitely.
this is,
We do that.
all this is
We've been begging
putting
Congress
a Band-Aid
for
on it rather than
decades.
correcting it. We need to correct it. My ordinance my resolution that said that immigrants could get a documented non-residents can get a driver's license.
Everyone appreciated you for that.
Well, but I'm saying that's something we can do. And that went to the state senate to say, pass this.
Thank you.
Give the motor vehicle department an opportunity to give driver's license.
Yeah.
Because I had a driver who worked over in Peterborough who was living in Old Orchard, paying his taxes and going to work every day. He wasn't legal. If he got stopped or if he got in an accident, he couldn't get insurance.
Yep.
So who did that hurt? It hurt
my-
me if he hit me.
My uncle was deported for that exact reason.
I think if all of you put your resources into getting the federal government, Representative McKenzie and the two senators, to pass comprehensive immigration reform, that is much more corrective than just naming us a welcoming city. I see nothing. I think the false hope idea is I mean, I really believe that we need immigration reform. I really do. Anyone else want to address city council? Mr. Pitts.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'm just gonna say on Nescahoney Street, we're already got some of the.
Just give your name and address to the clerk, please. She has to record it.
Okay, all right. I'm John Pitts. I'm the post commander of the Buffalo Soldiers of Bethlehem. They call me the Law Dog, BDJ. And I'm just going to follow up. I'm just going along with everything that's been going on. We have the dates and everything that's going on with the project. So we're pretty much just following up, that's all. And I want to help this young man out here. We don't do stop and frisk anymore. We haven't did it in 10 years. It's illegal to do so. As a federal officer, we don't do it. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts.
Anyone else like to address city council? Okay, there's nothing else on the agenda except for adjournment. Oh, go ahead, Mr.
No, motion to
A
adjourn.
motion to
Yes,
adjourn.
sir.
Second.
There's a second.
I don't want to go out and wash dishes.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Pinnabone?
Aye.
Mrs. Rose?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Ms. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Crystal, I'm serious.
You students back there, if you need something signed, bring them forward, please.